We are Geekcentric, and you can be too. Love ya. Get home safe, guys. Peace.
Welcome to the Geekcentric Podcast. My name is Nate, and in this episode, we're joined by a good friend as we talk about some of the latest trailers to hit the internet, as well as his experience on becoming a video game character. But first, if you're joining us for the first time, this is a weekly show covering the world of film, television, gaming, toys, and collectibles, and all things geek-centric. Joining me on the show today, we have the justifiably juvenile jester of journalistic jousting, Justin.
That's my jousting.
I don't think you know what jousting is.
I clearly don't.
That was more karate, I feel, than jousting. I don't know that.
Like Ross?
It was vigorous.
Yeah.
That was vigorous jousting.
All right. Let's see here. And next to him, if he spends too much time in the sun, he'll also be turning red. We have, first of his name, King of the Course and the Seven Kingdoms, the Keeper of Crocs and the Kaiser of Chamomile. He's the Crusader, Kevin Hudson.
Oh, you know what? The only thing I'm keeping on courses is the grounds crew busy having to fix all my divots after I hack it up.
Oh, no.
And just so everybody is aware, it's always Birkenstocks over Crocs. But
Stocks
otherwise,
over
I wouldn't
Crocs.
change a thing.
Hashtag that. Hashtag stocks over Crocs. And you already heard his voice. He's hacking his way into our hearts. We have the magistrate of malware, the mathematical minister of the municipalities, multiplicities, the multisensory master of the Matrix, Mr. Munro Chambers.
Does that make me a version of a mayor or something? Like, there was a lot of stuff going on there with the regions, municipalities.
Yeah, I tried to include Canadian.
That's a lot to take in.
You're right.
There's a lot of Canadian words there.
I put like some video gamey, like tech jargon in there. How are you doing, Munro?
I'm very, very good. I'm better because I'm with you fine gentlemen. What's the second time in, what, a week and a half?
Not even
Pretty
less than
much.
that? Probably less than that. Yeah.
Probably less than that.
Jeez.
You were on our Loki Watch Club finale, which you can all listen
Too
to.
soon.
Yeah, I thought it was a little too soon.
Yeah, love makes the heart grows fonder, and I think, you know what I mean? We need to make that happen.
There you go. Well, listen, my heart definitely grows fonder for you, and I'm stoked to talk about trailers with you, Munro, as well as your latest role in a frickin' video game, which, you know, I'm a huge gamer, and we all are, so we're so stoked to talk to you about that. But before we do, let's move right into Whatcha. It's been a while since we've Whatcha'd. Justin, Whatcha been Whatchaing?
Ooh, I haven't watched it much. I think other than Space Jam, which we saw this past weekend.
Yep.
Go check that podcast out. Our quick fire reviews. Other than that, I did check out one thing that was new. Gunpowder Milkshake. It's on Netflix. Stars Karen Gillan, Lena Headey, Michelle Yeoh, Angela Bassett. That's actually quite the interesting female ensemble, and it's kind of like I would almost describe it as a female John Wick. Like, there's a little bit of this behind the scenes world to this,
right,
I guess, assassin's life.
Cool.
It doesn't have coins and weird sort of terminologies and stuff like that, but I don't know, I really liked it. I loved the music. It felt the score was really really cool. It had a very Western vibe to it. I would probably give it, I don't know, a 4 out of 5. I was surprised at how much I actually enjoyed it. Other than that, I've just been, oddly enough, just going through some Marvel stuff.
Like rewatching the MCU?
Yeah, like after Black Widow, I went back and I watched all of her movies, and then I watched Black Widow again, and now I'm into Infinity War, and I'm going to probably do Endgame. So, yeah, and I've just been enjoying obviously the Loki experience, and, just, yeah, but really, other than that, it's just been busy with other stuff, editing and so on. So haven't done very much watching. I'm hoping to do some more this weekend, though.
Yeah, I think we've got some really cool stuff coming down the pipeline that I'm so stoked to talk about here on the podcast. But yeah, man, like, speaking of the MCU, like, my mom was watching the little scenes here and there from Loki as I was watching with my dad, and she's like, I think I want to watch the MCU. And I was like, wait, you want to watch I'm like, all right, the rewatch is happening. Kevin's already doing it. I'm going to do it. And if I get to watch it with my mom and see her experience, like going through all this stuff that I guarantee she has no idea about, all the different spoilers and things like that, I'm amped. I think that's always a fun time.
Actually, another thing I watched in connection to Marvel has been the animated show that I think you guys had mentioned previously, MODOK.
Oh, yeah.
I really got just started going deep with that, and I'm actually enjoying it. I think it's pretty funny. I like the animation. The comedy is pretty funny. I like the sort of docu style that they try to put in it. I think MODOK is hilarious. I think he's such a buffoon, if you will. And I just like how they bring in some really interesting characters. They have their version of the Joker, which is a character called Arcade. And he makes these games of death. And they brought him in, and it's such an obscure character that I was like, this is so random. I thought it was just a made up character, and then I dived in, and it's like, yep, that's an actual Marvel villain. And Darcy was actually able to confirm that. So,
well, that's one of the only things I've kind of enjoyed about the show. I mean, Patton is great, and the animation style is really neat. But the one thing I have enjoyed is that you're seeing these characters on screen and you're like, they are making up the dumbest characters, but they're all actual
real
characters that have been in comics. Yeah. And it works perfectly when your lead character is MODOK, which was a terrible idea to begin with and has become nothing but a joke on the pages itself. So it just all blends and fits really nicely in that regard.
Yeah, I think they found a really interesting way to do something that's crude comedy while still, incorporating Marvel elements. Of course, this isn't canon, or maybe it is. I'm not sure. Patton Oswalt said that he'd love to be MODOK in the live action, which I think is just hilarious. That'd be amazing.
That'd be cool.
To that point, though, I think it's kind of wonderful that they're taking these characters that were kind of thrown to the wayside. They were kind of like, this is so random and weird. And through performances, through illustration, by putting them out there, we may find some real gems, some ones that are oh, that's such a random character on paper, back when they came out, but then maybe one's oh my goodness, I want to see that live action. So that's I like that. I like when they take these things that shouldn't work, it's not supposed to work, and they're like, no, let's highlight it, let's see if it does, for giggles.
And that robot chicken style animation that they have, they've really perfected it really well. It's actually very well done. So it's definitely fun. I laugh out loud every so often when I'm watching it.
Yeah, it's like one of those shows where you don't have to watch it so much as you're just, I'll watch it, I'll put it on. Yeah, man. Kevin.
Well, you had mentioned that I was going through my MCU rewatch, and I did just wrap that up recently. I will say I am so jealous of Anne that she gets to experience it all for the first time, because I would absolutely love to go back and see some of these characters and moments for the first time.
Oh, my gosh.
And obviously I won't go into what I think of the MCU. It's incredible. We say it every week in one regard. The rewatch really got me amped up and it showed me how much I've missed seeing these MCU movies in theater and seeing this story progress. And we really haven't gotten anything. I mean, the shows have been great. Black Widow was really good and I enjoyed it, but I'm ready now for the next phase of the movies. And I think Shang-Chi probably won't do much for that. Who knows about the Eternals? But by the end of the year and all through next year, I think we're really going to see this story just propel forward. And it's very exciting.
Yeah, man. I mean, theaters have now opened up in Ontario. And one thing I did see, Kevin, is that and this is something that sounds like you and your family would totally do this. And if so, I'm invited. But you can do the whole private movie theater. And we've talked about this before, but I had one of the Cineplex employees tell me yeah, you can actually rent out a theater. What I should have asked is, can we all watch Endgame in the theater when we do that? Because I think that would be such a phenomenal experience to just, kind of watch it again on the big screen like that. That'd be so cool.
We've all got to fill different roles of people that were in the theater on that opening weekend, right? We need the hooting and hollering crowd. We need the crying people,
crying through their Captain America mask. Yeah, totally. Very cool.
Outside of that, I've been watching Rick and Morty season 5. Gotta say, I've been kind of disappointed. After the first episode, I just thought the last 4 have fallen a bit flat. I don't know if they're running out of ideas or it's just, I don't know. It's just in a weird place right now. I thought season 4 was pretty weak, and this season started great, but it's kind of petered off for me. So I don't know.
Dude, I completely, I mean, we disagree on some things sometimes. I think that season 5 is actually going really well. I think it's only missed one episode that was really weird. If people who are watching, I'm not going to spoil it, but if you know which episode I'm probably talking about. That was just kind of a big sort of single gag that they carried throughout the entire episode, which felt very Family Guy to me, and I didn't dig that sort of lowbrow humor of the late Family Guy stuff. So, but I don't know, man. I've been really enjoying it. I don't know.
Maybe I've just come to expect too much after those first 2 seasons,
sure.
which are just perfection, right?
Yeah.
I checked out a movie from 2019 called Ready or Not. It's a horror dark comedy, Samara Weaving and Adam Brody. Really, really enjoyed that. I'm not much for the scary movies, but this wasn't really your typical horror in that regard. And I just thought it was a lot of fun, and you never really knew where the characters were going, and some of the things that happened to them were surprising and a lot of fun. So I definitely enjoyed that and would recommend it.
Yeah, the trailer that I remember seeing it, I can't believe I glossed over it because I was excited to watch it, but I never actually watched it. It looks very Knives Out, almost, in a way, right? Who done it? Yeah, cool. Sweet.
It did really, really well in the festival circuit when in that year when we were taking Harpoon around. We that was always there, and it's a really, really good film, and it's got that Clue vibe, but it's got some comedy, and it did very, very well in the festival circuit.
I just couldn't help during certain scenes going, are you sure that's not Margot Robbie? Are you positive? She just looks so much like her in that movie. Yeah. Like did check out The Tomorrow War on Prime.
Garbage.
Oh, man, it was not very good.
Garbage. I don't even know what this is.
It's a Chris Pratt movie. Basically, people from our time are recruited from people in the future to go fight a war that's taking place about 30 years in the future. And I don't know.
I watched that 2 weeks ago, and it left my mind.
It was very much a made for Prime movie. How's that for you? You know, that's the new standard of bad movies that we're going to get from these streaming sites. So yeah, that one you can avoid.
They talked about how much money they put into that, right? And that I think that was supposed to be a theater release. Especially given the summer, but
there were moments that were fine, and I'll tell you what, to be included with my $10 a month Amazon Prime subscription fee, fine. I would have been a little cheesed if I spent $60 on a date night to go to the theaters for that one. I will be perfectly honest.
Yeah,
I think that's the thing, though. It's like you got to find, with the streaming services having so much now, like Netflix and Prime having so many different stuff popping up every week, you got to find those real gems, right? And so sometimes there's those gems that get pushed to the forefront because of the marketing budget, and sometimes there's those gems that you just have to hear about, right?
I'm telling you.
But I will say that the Tomorrow War, obviously being pushed to the forefront, the fact that it's getting a sequel is blowing my mind, but whatever, it's fine.
I believe that's going to be
fun.
The Yesterday War.
Yeah, for sure.
Check out Gunpowder Milkshake, a better streaming movie.
Right on. Now, speaking of streaming, because of a weird release schedule for us, my last movie here, I saved it for last because I'm sure a few of us will talk about it. It almost felt like it was a newly released movie, even though it was released in the States in, I think, May. But for us, Quiet Place 2 just came out and was already free on Amazon Prime. Like, let's go.
Yeah, dude.
I went to go rent it, turned on Prime, and it was there for free. And I thought, I win here,
Yeah, dude, I got a chance to see it in the theaters, and I had enough scene points it was my first movie back, and I was like, if I'm going to go back to be my first movie back, because we had plans to go see Space Jam, which we watched, and I'm like, that's not going to be my first movie back in the movie theater. So even though I could have watched it on Amazon Prime, I got it for free in a theater. So I went to the Colossus, and dude, it was like, my spoiler-free 2 cents would be it's better paced than the first one, but it does serve as more of an extension of the first one rather than like a full sequel. You know what I mean? But like, I've heard people say it's better than the first one. I don't agree with them.
I don't think it's better, but
no.
But it was so hard for them to make a sequel to that first movie without it just not being very good. And this is very, very good. And
absolutely,
some of the character work for them to basically replace one character from the first movie with a whole new character in this one, and you care as much about him as you go through the movie. I thought that was so well done. Like, John Krasinski's obviously very, very talented, or at least has found something with this formula, and I'm all for a third after seeing the second one.
See, there's always times where you always feel like you do these films and then you're like, why can't it just be a one-off? Why can't it just be like a one hit and then, but they always want to make a second one, and I get why they did. I haven't seen it yet, but I was like, when I heard about they were doing a second one, I was like,
did it need
it? Did it need it? Like, would it stand over the test of time by just being a solo and just being it was so good, the first one.
Yeah.
Are you risking it?
Yeah.
But if it's done well,
risk. Yeah, it was a huge risk, and I honestly don't think that this one hurts the first one at all.
No,
and that's wonderful. Then successful. You've won. If you can stay status, you're fine.
I would have bet against that being the case, but they proved me wrong.
And it still gives you the feeling, like when I was in the theater, like if you get a chance to go out to the theater to watch this, please do, because in the theater, it still gives you that feeling that if you saw it in the theater the first time, like of being the theater so quiet that like even reaching into your bag of popcorn, you're like scared to like crunch on something. Like I waited for the loud scenes so I could eat something. Like it's honestly, I really enjoyed it, and it's such a great movie. There's honestly, it's like a 50-50, loud and then super quiet. So yeah, man, definitely really good stuff.
Just the one thing with sequels is that it's the trickiest thing because people try to go way too far with it, or they try to completely flip the script. Yeah. You have to do what brought you there. If it's a hit, you have to have that kind of recipe and then add a couple new spices, and just you can't get too crazy with it, and you just got to straight. So it's so great to hear that the second one, I'm gonna watch it, but the second one held up because I was so worried when I heard they were doing a second one. I'm like, no, don't just do it for the money. But again, with Krasinski and with Blunt, I was just like, okay, you're okay, let's go.
Yeah, I think the thing though, it's not always the case with all sequels, but you have, in this case, Krasinski had a story ready to go that just hadn't been flushed out for a sequel. He always knew that there was going to be more. But I think that, in the case of what you're describing, where they do stretch beyond like a Tomorrow War having a sequel, like that's producers wanting to just, extend that as far as they can. So, it gets muddled, right? With, to your point, the intention of what that sequel it needs to do. So I think here we have Krasinski really kind of, flushing this out, right? So
I think you nailed it. That's the hardest part about a sequel is it necessary, or are you just doing this because? And this one captures it gets the characters right again, and that was sort of what drove that first movie. And so the characters really drive this, and the scope of the story doesn't get too big. They keep it quite contained still into this sort of isolated environment where it's not getting too out of hand, and we're still intimate with these characters. And yeah, it was a home run. I was really impressed.
Very cool. Well, we know that it'll be on a future Watcha of Munro's, but Munro, Watcha?
My watchas have mainly been animated Star Wars series. So we've finished off Rebels.
Nice.
We being my partner and I, because there's been, we like to do these like kind of annual stuff. So I love, I didn't like when we, what was it? What was the series that came out that they just gave us? It wasn't Mandalorian, but they just gave you every single episode. Oh, no, It was before. It was every single episode, and then it was Mandalorian. That's like, okay, we're doing every other week.
Right.
And they went back to that tradition. So partner and I, we love that. So it's kind of a tradition for us. So we finished off Rebels. We're still riding high on Bad Batch, and we're having a lot of fun with that. And then outside of those two, I've just been kind of going back over the years and, the Oscar seasons and everything like that for films I haven't been able to watch. So I circled back. I did Black Klansman.
Nice.
And then there's got a couple other on my list. And then other than that, just kind of, things have been pretty busy for me, which has been great. Especially given these times. And so I kind of, when I get a chance just to not depress, but like, just relax and trying to wind down, I like to watch some of my classic films that just bring me joy, or that are just childhood films. So I always run to Remember the Titans or Notting Hill, or ones that are just good watches that pull a couple emotions out of me that need to get vented out.
Very nice. That's what I love. I love movies that can do that for you, right? Like I always talk on the podcast about like how I love to cry when I watch a movie. It's
necessary, right? Like that's why I like certain films in childhood, and you got to go to that nostalgic place because you're gonna laugh, you're gonna feel uplifted. That's why for me, like Remember the Titans for me has all that for me. and even Notting Hill and some other ones. Like I always like to run to About Time as well, especially when I'm feeling, especially in these moments, like, people. It was like About Time. If I could just say, About Time is just one of the greatest films I've seen in a long time. I just loved it. But you gotta cry. You gotta let the boo-hoos out. And for me, it's so that's what I've been doing mainly. But the main ones have been, finishing Rebels, which we loved, and Bad Batch, obviously, and then obviously Loki, and we just watched the Assembled.
I haven't watched that yet. Yeah.
For Loki, I haven't watched it yet. Very cool. Sweet.
It's if I can do, it's not a spoiler, but they got as creative as they did with the series. It was a spin on the Assembled series that they've been doing for the other two. So it was it was just cool. It was very cool. We enjoyed it. It was fun.
Sweet. I'll definitely have to check that out. So it's a part of a future one of my watches. But what I've been watching. I mean, we kind of already talked about a lot of it, right? Space Jam we watched, and A Quiet Place Part 2, Rick and Morty. Behind the Attraction, I did tonight. I watched the Haunted Mansion episode.
So did I, yes.
And it was so good, and I had no idea that we go through a tunnel. What?
Oh, you didn't know that? Yeah,
I didn't know.
So like, was anyone like? I didn't find that episode. And I'm not like you, Kev, who knows a lot about Disney, but like none of it was really new other than
it was for me.
Yeah, like I mean,
didn't. To be fair, we've seen stuff on the Imagineers series that they did.
Yeah,
we've done the behind the scenes tour, right, where they told us a lot of stuff. So I mean, they can only tell us so much. Information.
I thought it was honestly, having seen a lot of the series, I thought it was a phenomenal episode for me, and I don't know, I thought it was really well done, and it really all came together really nicely, which is something that we talked about in the review that I was kind of upset that the series didn't necessarily do. So I was happy that the episode did, for sure.
I liked how they showed where how they adapted the Haunted Mansion for the different parks. Like I believe it's in Hong Kong. It's called Mystic Manor, and it's not really ghosts or something like that. It's more spiritual based, and then in Euro Disney. Oh, that's what it used to be called. What is it? Disneyland Paris. I love it. We'll get them some American flair and do a cowboy theme. The French will eat it up. That's great. Yeah.
So good. And then I also watched on Apple TV Plus. I watched Schmigadoon. Which is this really
Kevin's
fresh
favorite
musical
show.
comedy.
All the musicals.
I literally have written here, I promise you, Kevin, you would hate it. But listen. It's starring Cecily Strong and Keegan-Michael Key.
You lost me there. The first name you lost.
Oh no! And they are in this romantic comedy that's also a musical that makes fun of musicals. So if you're a fan of musicals, unlike Kevin, right? It's so much fun to sort of see them. Yeah, it's parody on parody, and it's got like levels to it and layers to it. And I've only watched the first 2 episodes, so I'm really, really stoked to watch this 3rd episode, which will be out by the time you're listening to this. I don't know why Kevin hates musicals so much, but
it's just not plausible, man. It's just not plausible for someone to break out in singing and song and dancing.
But Justin, they literally address that in the show.
Yeah, but then they do it for the whole show. Yeah. No, thank you.
Kevin,
I'm sorry, I was being sarcastic. I appreciate musicals, so.
Yeah.
But you can't tell me you've been in line for Subway and they don't have cucumbers on the ready and you don't break out into song and sing about it. You can't tell me that's never happened to you. You can't.
It's true.
And if you do, you're lying.
Yeah, 100%.
Maybe not cucumbers, but chocolate milk. I think that would get him into singing.
That would get me pretty riled up.
That would get you singing? That would get the tone going? Yeah.
Exactly.
And then I know we're going a little long in this Watcha, but listen, it's just been such a long time. So really quickly, 2 things that I've been playing really quick. Watchdogs Legion Bloodline, which we'll talk a little bit about later. But I also really wanted to bring up a game that I just discovered last night called Death's Door. And I have to tell you, I love when games come out and are just so surprisingly fantastic that like, You don't expect anything from this game. You don't really know much about it. And then you start playing it and it just gives you everything you want. It's sort of a combination of like top-down Zelda, like Link's Awakening, meets like a Soulsborne game, so it's like crazy difficult. And the themes of the game have me really hooked in. You play as this crow who works as a reaper at this agency, which is so similar to the TVA. It's blowing my mind. And so you have to harvest the souls of giants in order to pass into the afterlife. And I'm just telling you right now, you've got your bow and arrow. You've got a sword. You dodge. You flip. You fly. It's phenomenal. Munro, I was telling you I told you to jump on the stream and watch it. What did you think?
So there's two things. That top-down point of view, like that kind of style.
Yeah.
I hate it. I do not like it. It bugs me. I don't know why it does, but it does. It's a yuck for me. But I will say it's a yuck for me. This is not a yum, and I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying I don't like it. It is the cilantro of views for games for me. But I will say this, that I'm into. Like, I was like, the clip you saw, I had to watch a little bit in between things, and I was watching it, and I was like, is that Voldemort with a lightsaber? What am I watching here? But it looked so cool. I was really into it. I don't know why the mechanics worked for me there, but I'm jacked up to play it.
Dude, I'm telling you, as soon as it can come to other platforms, it's exclusive to Xbox and PC right now, and I know you don't have those, and I told you to, like, listen, before you fall in love with this, just know this. But, dude, honestly, like, I know you're such a huge fan of story games. Ori and the Will of the Wisps is your number one in the world, as you've told me many times, and
Easy.
so, right? And so it's like, this game, the characters and the story and the way that the characters are, like, are so far in the first couple hours of just interacting with them. They're so charming, and I'm just, honestly, if you haven't checked out Death's Door, do that. Get it on Xbox, and hopefully it comes to Switch, because I'd love to play it at work.
What I need to do is I need to watch you on Twitch. Is it Twitch? It's Twitch.
It's Twitch.
I'm an old man.
You're not with
I know a couple things, but but no. So on Twitch, I need to do what I did with Ori, which is just watch you play it and then fall in love from there.
Yeah.
Because you have played it a few times, right?
No, I played it once last night and then again tonight.
It was last night, so that's why. Because I was working last night, so that's why.
Yeah,
so the next time I'm gonna be there,
Perfect.
and I'm gonna be watching this little game.
Let's go. All right, well, listen. Hang on. Let me just check my clock here. Oh, my gosh. Kevin, what time is it?
Oh, you better believe.
It's trailer time.
All right, it is trailer time. Thank you, Kevin. And your banjo work, I must say, is improving. I'm noticing every day.
Those fingers are plucking harder every day.
You got blisters on these fingers. Listen, we're going to talk about our first trailer here for a movie called The Last Duel. This is directed by the one and only Ridley Scott, with screenplay by Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, and Nicole Holofcener. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Apologies if I'm not. This is starring Jodie Comer, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Adam Driver, Harriet Walter, and Alex Lothar. So this movie is about King Charles VI, who declares that Knight Jean de Carouges settle his dispute by his squire. With his squire by challenging him to a duel. Anyways, it comes out October 15th in theaters, and it looks really great. What do you guys think of the Last Duel trailer, Justin?
I think Ben Affleck in a period piece is really weird. Matt Damon is even more questionable. It was a little jarring. The only person that seemed to fit there was Adam Driver. I don't know, but you think Ben Affleck with that blonde cut,
the blonde hair, dude.
I kind of chuckled.
I'm really not sure how I feel about Goodwill jousting. And it's
very good. That was very good.
For that.
And what is it with? I've been sitting on that one all day. And what is it with Ridley Scott? You know, he's been accused of making these movies and whitewashing his cast. Now he's like American washing his cast. He's got people with no accents in this 13th century period piece, and they're speaking with American accents. It's just really bizarre and weird. So that threw me off of what was otherwise a movie that is going to tell a really interesting story, because it is. And it just distracted me too much, I think.
I was gonna say 100%. Like, I have a note here. Like, seeing Ben Affleck with that haircut took me out of the trailer. Like, Matt Damon, I actually think looks a lot like Travis Fimmel in a show called Raised by Wolves, which I think we talked about on the podcast. There's a character named Marcus, and he's got like the exact same haircut and even like scars on his face and stuff.
Witcher-esque even, you know?
Yeah, 100%. But like, I'm worried that it's going to be distracting the movie. Like, there's a reason that the cast for Game of Thrones was so freaking phenomenal, because like, besides Sean Bean, none of them were really recognizable to me. So seeing these actors that, you know, I feel like I'm just going to see like Batman and Kylo Ren again. But I also feel like how phenomenal they are at acting. Like, either they're convincing enough as these medieval lords, or maybe the movie's going to focus a lot more on Jodie Comer's character, and that's what's going to maybe be the redemption. I don't know.
I feel like that's entirely what that's going to be, like, the focus of, and you know, she's centered in this story, surrounded by men, and I feel like that's very much that. I am interested to see Ridley Scott return to sort of the medieval style. I've always been a fan of that, from things like, you know, Gladiator, Robin Hood.
Right.
I actually really liked Robin Hood with Russell Crowe, and I think this looks like it still looks to par of what, you know, we would expect from a Ridley Scott medieval piece. So that I'm as much as I'm looking forward to. But yeah, the actors, at least just Ben Affleck. Adam Driver's a fantastic actor. Like, you know, hands down, he will win an Oscar at some point in his career. And I
mean, he's been in a lot of other movies, to be fair.
Yeah, dude, he was phenomenal in Marriage Story.
Marriage Story was unreal.
I did watch that movie, and I to his credit, I didn't think of Kylo Ren when I watched it. So besides like when he started really yelling, but other than that, I didn't think of Kylo Ren. Monroe, do you think you're going to see Kylo Ren in this movie, or what do you think?
I've honestly, Adam Driver to me, Kylo Ren is the one-off from what I've known him for.
Yeah.
Like, what I've known him for, to be honest. Like, as an actor, like, you've seen him in, like, in Black Klansman.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even close. And then I forget it's left me right now, but the one where he's got a prosthetic arm.
Logan Lucky.
Daniel
He's
Craig.
so great in Logan Lucky.
Yeah. And then you look at some of the previous stuff, like, it's, to me, when he got cast as Kylo Ren, I was like, yeah. And that's the same thing you saw with, like, what Hayden Christensen, when he got cast, is because he killed it at Sundance.
Yeah.
Right.
He was the next up and coming guy, and there's so many actors like that on all spectrum that you're just like, no, that he's a really talented actor. For this trailer, I thought one of the best parts was just the graphics and the editing done to come in and out of shots. I thought that was
cool.
Really, really, really cool. And I wish personally because is this the first trailer for this film?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so that to me, I don't know why, and I'll never make a pure judgment until I see it. But if a trailer's too long, they're hiding something, or they're trying to cover something. It's when a trailer, like when we saw the first trailer for Dune, short, sweet.
Yeah,
it pulled you in. This gave you almost everything you needed to know of like what the actual story is, unless they're gonna totally give you a left hook of what, like, some misdirection.
Right.
But I think they could have just simplified it a little bit more, because the cuts with the animations and the editing, pulling them in and out, I thought that was so cool. So if they just simplified it, I think the trailer would have been better. But I'm also a sucker for an epic. I think the reason why Matt Damon, people are going to say, looks strange is because what we've seen him recently do in any kind of epic has always been shticky and parody, right? I immediately thought of him in Thor.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Right. Yeah.
But I still think but they're so talented. I think it's gonna be good, but it's gonna be somewhere between. And I love that you literally took the words out of my mouth. It was literally between Robin Hood and A Knight's Tale. It's there's gonna be a cross there. I also thought immediately of Heath Ledger, like thinking, like if he was still around, he would be playing probably Matt Damon's character.
Interesting.
With Adam Driver, and what a collaboration that would be.
Oh, that'd be an
but again,
epic.
Yeah, but I think I think it will be centered around something different. I think there should be some misdirection, but again, with Ridley Scott, we don't know. But I'm a big fan of it anyway, and I think it had enough there to make me want to watch it. But there is, the American accent thing was funny.
Yeah, man. And Yeah, it's kind of like, again, like why do they not have the Parisian accent, or can they not do it? Did they really want those actors, and that's why they're going that direction? But I'm really stoked as well for Jodie Comer. Like you see in the logo treatment, she's in the middle of those two swords, so clearly that's the story of the book, right? But she also was fantastic in Star Wars as Rey's mother. Anyways, let's move on to our next trailer for Vacation Friends. This is directed by Clay Tarver. And it's written by him as well as Tim and Tom Mullen. It stars Lil Ray Howlery, Yvonne Orji, Meredith Hagner, and John Cena. And this story is about a couple who meets up with another couple while on vacation in Mexico, but their friendship takes an awkward turn when they get back home. I sent this trailer to Justin to ask him if he wanted to include this, because we already had like so many more trailers. Like we're running out of space for this. And he's like, I don't care what you have to take out. We're talking about this. So Justin, what did you think of the trailer for Vacation Friends?
I loved it. I thought it was hilarious. It looks like it's going to be a classic sort of summer comedy film. It looks fun.
Rom-com.
It looks fun. Yeah, it looks fun. I'm interested in seeing it. John Cena looks hilarious.
John Cena's killing it, man. I think he's killing it. He's killing the game. He's going to be in Suicide Squad, and I think we're going to fall in love with him even more. And then when this movie comes out, I don't know, man. I've never been like watching this trailer. I'm actually excited to watch this movie and laugh at a dumb movie, which normally I'm not that kind of guy. Yeah. I'm not normally the kind of guy that's like, I'm more of a Palm Springs guy. Like, shout out to Meredith Hagner, who's in Palm Springs, and her character's really funny in that as well. But I'm more of a Palm Springs smart, elevated indie comedy than I am the sort of dumb like bro film or just dumb movie that with the popcorn.
There's
and
got to be a balance.
The drug jokes, but there's got to be a balance, right? And so I'm oddly excited for this. I don't know.
You will not get a balance in this one. This is going to be hammy, loud, obnoxious for 2 hours. Oh.
Yeah.
No, but I mean balance in terms of watching. Like it's good to watch those movies, but it's it's okay to watch like, stupid mindless movies like this that, to your point, is just going to be hammy and silly.
Yeah, you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I completely agree. I like watching a trailer. I'm like, oh yeah, we're the Millers, neighbors, couple retreat. Like I know, like you know the recipe. You've tried it 1,000 times. You're gonna get some laughs.
Yeah.
And you know how it's gonna end. Like but you know what? There is a place for those films for everyone. And some people are gonna totally go against them, and some people that's all they watch. And yeah, I think it's gonna be you know what you're getting.
There you go. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, I mean, listen, even if maybe Kevin comes to the theater with us or maybe not, either way, I definitely want to go see this movie as a foursome. Let's go ahead and talk about our final trailer. And this is an odd sort of turn to talk about this kids movie now, but we're going to talk about Pixar's Turning Red. This was a trailer that actually dropped a little while ago, but we haven't had a chance to talk about it, and I really wanted to talk about it, and I'm so stoked to talk about it. This is directed and written by Do-Mi Shi, starring Rosalie Chang and Sandra Oh. And the description, all we have for the description is a 13-year-old turns into a giant red panda whenever she gets too excited. This comes out spring 2022 in theaters and possibly on Disney+. Monroe, what did you think of the Turning Red trailer?
Absolutely loved it. And just that description there, that's all they gave us. That's all I want.
That's all I need. Yep. I'm sold.
I don't want this long explanation. I think for those who had opinions about Luca, that it was a little more mainstreamed and it was a little more sheltered. It wasn't as like depthful and complex. I think this is going to bring us right back to it. I have no idea what it's about. I have enough to make me want to jump in the water head first. I'm not going to watch another trailer. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
This is going to be so great. And to see, I don't want to take any more away because I think people are going to start talking about it, but I am jacked up. And I think there's so many elements to the trailer that were so wonderful. And especially coming from the creator of Bao.
Yeah.
It's so cool to be, from that city, seeing this story. And then, it's just the backdrop. It's the setting. It's going to be so... I can't watch another trailer because I will get too jacked up and I can't allow myself to feel
You'll turn into a giant red panda.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, our resident giant red panda, what do you have to say?
I think, the thing I'm most excited about is, a movie set in Toronto that looks like it's really going to be set in Toronto. And I don't even just mean from a physical standpoint. I think it's going to be really like just seeing the CN Tower in animated form was so cool. And I really hope we do get to see a few more of those elements if they run past City Hall or they're going through Chinatown or any of those sort of flares.
I want Kensington Market.
Kensington Market would be incredible. But I think the most remarkable thing was looking at all the background characters and even the characters in the classroom. There's such a diversity to the cast of characters in this movie that really is the identity of Toronto that I think they're going to nail absolutely on the head. I mean, there's a security guard with a turban, and there's the classroom she's in is completely mixed, and I just think that's so wonderful to see on the screen like that.
Yeah, and she looks very mixed too, right? Like she doesn't look like she's 100% Asian. She looks mixed. Right, with her cultural background. And I think at the end you kind of see it when she poofs out of the giant red panda back to normal and then back to the panda. So I think that you're right, Kevin. I think the film's going to capture a level of diversity while also kind of talking about, a very, I think, personal experience of growing up and what that looks like, and kind of using the metaphor of this transformation for something that I think is going to be very relative and relatable to a lot of people.
Well, I don't know the last kids movie that I watched that, I mean, maybe we saw a little bit with Inside Out, but tackling anxiety and how to deal with stress, right? For kids, I think is something that, first of all, to recognize that in the first place. I mean, this is Pixar. They're masters at this, right? They find ways to engage all the different audiences. We talked about this with Luca, and I'm so excited. I'm so stoked. And yeah, Toronto in a Pixar movie, like that's perfect. Like I wouldn't want any other studio to be showing this city like the way that they're doing, and also like freaking Backstreet Boys. I thought was an excellent song choice.
Great point. Yeah, huge points
what
for
a
using
pick.
that song. Yeah.
Right? And the only thing I will say, this minute and 40-second long trailer had me a little bit worried because, and listen, I get flack because I talked about how there was an episode of The Mandalorian that had too much Star Wars in it. And so I hope I don't get flack for this as well. But I do think, like, as much as I do want to see the Canadian references visually, there were a lot of maple leafs on all these kids' shirts. A little bit too much to the point where I'm like, do Canadian kids really all wear maple leafs everywhere? There's a poster for hockey, and I'm like, cool, obviously we need these references. But if they stuff the film full of A's and maple syrup in ways that are just
not Canadian,
that don't work, it's not gonna feel right. I don't know. That's the only thing that worried me.
I don't think it's going to be the whole movie. I mean, I think they're going to make the joke, and they're gonna have that. The kids are wearing toques in the classroom, and it looks like a bright sunny day. That's not inherently a Canadian thing. You'll see the subtle nods to it. They'll bang it over the head a couple times, but I don't think that's going to be the tone of the movie.
I hope not. Yeah, I hope not.
And
too. That was
you
my
have
concern.
to. It's like doing a Western and not having somebody wearing spurs and a cowboy hat, right? You got to do it, but then focus on the story and the characters.
Sure.
Totally. I only watched the trailer once, and I want to keep it that way. But so I didn't notice those Canadian amplifiers. But I hope they celebrate Toronto if it is set there. But I agree with you. If you're gonna just say, oh no, every Canadian in Toronto, that's just not true.
Yeah, capture the diversity, right? Like capture the diversity of Canada.
The heart of it.
Yeah, exactly.
100%. I think the heart of it's not everyone having a maple leaf and the maple syrup. I completely agree with that. So I didn't see that. So that's why I'm not going to watch any more trailers, because I don't want to, because I like the, so the one thing I really, really liked is, again, they're kind of bringing back this Wallace and Gromit animation that we saw in Luca. And there's a little bit that happening here, and they're kind of taking these, I just love that. I love that they're kind of enhancing it and making it new, making it modern. I just think it's really cool. I just think I'm just excited.
That's the best part about, Pixar sort of evolving, is that they're getting so good with their CG that obviously they're not making it look lifelike. That would totally defeat the purpose, but they're making these objects look like physical objects in a physical world rather than just, 3D graphics. And so it's that combination of that 3D CGI animation with something that feels physical and tangible that just gives it such an awesome look and aesthetic. I agree.
The scene at the end where she poofs out and she stands there with the combs and her wearing the t-shirt, it's such a anime expression. Like it has such an anime aesthetic. So I'm interested to see if there's a little anime influence in terms of like the sort of characterization of expressions and stuff like that, if that's represented. I think we could see something like that. We got subtle hints of it obviously in Bao, and how the animation was approached there, and it felt very different. But to the point of what you were saying, Munro, this feels familiar to what we've seen in Pixar with just a little bit of a new flair, and a little bit of a new taste of something else. So it's gonna be cool.
It's respecting the past, but adding your personal spin, and then people are just taking it's so great because usually you just see, okay, that's done 1,000 times, we're just doing it again. This is like taking the heart of what it was and enhancing it by making it personal. It's great.
Dude, I'm so stoked, and I know you're not going to watch another trailer for the movie. In fact, you're not even going to talk about another trailer on this podcast because that is it for trailer time. But, I think it's about time we get into our topic of the show. It's time for the topic of the show. All right, so for today's topic, we are so stoked to be joined by Munro, who's been acting since he was 8 years old, and he starred in some fantastic films such as Knuckleball, Harpoon, and of course Turbo Kid, and has been in TV series such as The Latest Buzz and Degrassi: The Next Generation. And his latest film, Taking the Fall, is out now on Apple TV and Amazon Prime. But today, we've asked him to join us to discuss a different role for him as Jackson Pearce in Ubisoft's Watchdogs Legion Bloodline DLC. So, Munro, thank you so much for taking some time away from DedSec to join us on this interview.
Oh, thanks so much for having me on and spotlighting, this DLC and, this corner of the craft.
It's so cool, dude. This I had a chance to play some of it, and then I also just there's a whole YouTube montage as well of all the different scenes. So if you definitely want to check that out, download, buy the DLC, and then you can watch those scenes too. But no, Munro, I've really been enjoying what I've played so far, and yeah, man, it's just so cool to have you in a video game. I know I've gamed with you in the past, and from how often I see you on PSN playing hockey with your brother, I know you've always been a gamer. And as I mentioned, you've been acting since you were 8. So let's start there. Did you ever think... Oh, actually, before we even get to the question, Ubisoft or Ubisoft? Can you just confirm once and for all?
No, I can't. I'm just going to be honest. No.
Yeah, I know.
While I was there, I heard Ubisoft.
Yeah.
Honestly, I say Ubisoft. Yeah. But I from many people who work there, I heard all the same thing. Okay. Whatever they say at E3, I'd say that's the one.
All right. Well, listen, an Ubisoft game. Did you ever think growing up as a young actor here in Canada that you'd ever get to be in a video game?
No, I didn't think this kind of technology would be there. Like I figured voice acting, in that sense, but nothing compared to what I did. On Bloodline. No, I never thought, when I was young, when I was like, I think I was 8 or 9. No, I was like 6 or 7. I went to my dad and I said, I want to be a cartoon. I want to be like Bugs Bunny, and that's what I want to do. And he says, well, you can't do that. That's not a profession. You can't turn into a cartoon. So I cried for like 3 days, as you do. Of course, yeah. And then I did. When I was 8 years old, we were doing, some commercials, and then I got to be in an Alphabets commercial, and in the Alphabets commercial I get sucked into the computer where I'm playing a game, and then I get to turn into this knight, and it's me in this big knight costume, and I save the girl, and then I get out and start eating alphabets. So then I laughed and I was like, see, I did it. And then so when I booked this, when it all worked out, I went to him again and said, see, I did it again. Joke's on you.
That's awesome.
2 steps closer now to being Bugs Bunny.
Yeah,
I'm that much exactly.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome, and that's funny that you're talking about like telling your dad that you're now in a video game, and you're almost like a cartoon, and it's funny because I told my parents that you were acting in a video game, And the craziest thing happened. They seemed to understand what that meant, which I think just speaks to like how good games have gotten at storytelling and how well they're known now for their storytelling and their cinema and how cinematic they've become. So I got to ask you, what were some of the biggest differences or similarities to, acting on screen or on stage when it comes to acting in a video game?
So from an actor's perspective, nothing should change. So all your intention is there. It's all recreation. Like that's the craft, that's the heart. But everything as far as etiquette wise, with technicians, everything that gets thrown out the window.
Right.
So it's close to stage because there's no camera there. Well, there are cameras, but you're not worrying about, somebody's light or a dolly or anything like that. It's completely creation, but they'll have like different things, like they'll have a table there, or they'll put up a wall, or they'll have a gurney up there that you're working with, but you're wearing this suit, so you don't have any clothes, so you can't draw from the outfit that you're in or the costume. And there's props, but the props are a stick with a bunch of balls on them, like these like little like these sensors. So it's literally bringing you back. What I loved about it was bringing you back to the beautiful innocence you had of why you wanted to be an actor, which is to create and to make a character out of nothing. And that was the best part. You had stuff around you, and so like if you had a sword or if you had a gun, you did have something like that. But it's literally just a wall or 4 walls with all these very, 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 very expensive cameras that if you hit one of them, you have to shut it all down, and then they have to reboot everything. So you have to really be smart about what you're doing. But it's wonderful. It's such a cool and different and progressive form of the craft in the corner of the industry. And some people don't like it. I read articles about it when I first joined on it, but people not liking it and thinking it's, but it's just new. They said the same thing about movies with sound,
right?
And, the talkies and all that stuff. So it was a radical experience, and it was really fun to be a part of it.
Very cool.
Now, Munro, you mentioned that you always love the chance to sort of find a character and explore the craft in that regard. And I know a lot of our listeners, our regular listeners at least, are starting to become familiar with you from our Watch Club programs. And so in the same kind of vein, you're taking on a character in Jackson that is in the original Watchdogs game, but as a child. And so this is so many years later, and it's the same character, but a new character. Did you sort of find that you had the ability to create a persona for this character when you took it on?
Yeah, so you create emotional history through his experience in the first game, and so that's rooted, and then you kind of fill it in with, you talk to some of the writers, the director, because there's a lot of writers on this project, but you talk to the director and you say, okay, does this work? What's happening here? What's going on with his mom? What has he been through? Has there been anything there? So you create layers of emotional history or scar tissue that's going to mold that character and mold his reaction to things, the way he approached stuff. And he's a very, he starts off still very youthful. He's got that youthful arrogance. He's damaged. He's got a prove it attitude. He's kind of in the footsteps still of the only father figure he's ever had. Right. So he's got a lot of layers to him, and that's what was so much fun about playing him, is that he's not a kid anymore, but he still hasn't grown up, and he still hasn't taken that next step to be, part of the group that way, and to kind of lead like the way his uncle did. So we kind of created that, and we still wanted little hints of Aiden, and so that was mainly what I was researching. I looked at the Jackson from before, but the only thing I knew was just the little points in his life, in his timeline, but the main thing was just Aiden and having little nuances that Aiden had or Noam brought to the character, and then just subtly throwing them in, whether it was vocally or his stance or the way that he delivered things, just little subtle stuff, because it is a father-son situation, even though he's his uncle.
And you notice that too, like throughout the game, just the way that that Jackson, physically moves, and so definitely saw that a lot in the performance as well. We have a writing question actually from Alex from Toronto, who says, "Hey Munro, I just wanted to ask, how much Watchdogs did you play before getting involved with this project, and were you really familiar with the story going in?"
I'm going to be honest, it was such a quick turnaround from when I got the role from when we started filming. I didn't play the game. So I watched a lot of the stuff online of the first 2 games and of Legion, of cutscenes, gameplay. So I watched a lot of that. I didn't actually get to play it myself. So I knew of Watchdogs, but it wasn't one that was like in the forefront of my head of like, Assassin's Creed or Far Cry or anything like that. But I knew of it. And I think that's one of the reasons why it was so exciting for me. I didn't have this pedestal to kind of go towards. It was like, no, there's a huge fan base there. It's a big game.
Right.
But I got to put my spin on something or approach this character without any kind of notion that I was like, oh, I got to live up to something. Because sometimes with games, you got to be careful because there is going to be so it was kind of like a free fall, which was a lot of fun.
Definitely. Yeah. And it seems like that would be less daunting, I think, right? Getting into this for your first time.
Yeah. It's like joining, it's like if you join Star Wars and you're a fanatic.
Yeah.
You're like that's all you've ever like. There's pros and cons to it, but when you're jumping it into a corner of the craft that's very new, that's very kind of being developed as we go along. Like every 6 months, there's new technology, new suits, new ways to go about it. It's Andy Serkis made it famous, in that sense, but he made it. It's all about intention. It's all real. So, it is strange because, like when you're a kid in your room, like for me, I was a kid in my room and I created the mountains around me. I was in the water, all this stuff, and you had that little childhood imagination just explode. You have to do that constantly, and then you have somebody else there in the room with you.
Interesting.
And it's cool.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, it sounds like, apart from obviously the on-screen presence that you had in the game, your voice is used quite extensively, even when you're off-screen, as sort of like an informant for Uncle Aiden. Can you describe how it was providing just your voice for so many lines of dialogue in the game?
People have no idea how hard it is.
Yeah.
I'll say that right now. If anybody like is watching stuff like where it's like just voice acting or anything like voice acting is so difficult because you're naked. You're completely naked with your intention, with your emotion, because nobody can see you crying. You know what I mean? Like nobody can see those little like nuances. Now when we're doing motion capture, okay, sometimes they can pick up.
Right.
But with voice acting, you literally have to hear the voice and hear the heart. Cuz in when you're doing it in film, the eyes are the windows. Well, what happens when they're not there?
Right.
So it all has to come from a rooted place. It was so much fun to tackle that, and I hope sincerely I get the chance to do it again because I was learning as we were going. The directors and the writers that were in the booth with me, well, not actually in the booth because of COVID and everything like that. They were, we would always say they were God, the gods above us, or they'd be in the voices in my head. I'd be like, God, what do you think about that one? Noam actually, that he coined that. It was really, really funny filming that. But anyway, you're kind of learning as you're going. I had done a little bit of voice work, and it's different than ADR because when you're doing ADR, you're just adjusting and you're just recreating what you've done before, and that's a different technique and that's a different form of the craft. But when it's done well, it's done well, and I just try to do the best I could, and I learned a lot.
I know with our YouTube videos, we've done a lot of voiceover work in the past, and I found almost the hardest thing because you did mention that, you almost feel naked and you are just sort of looking into a microphone. And so did you find a level of like self-consciousness that you had to get over so that you could truly sort of embrace the role? Because you do have to sort of physically get into it, I can imagine, right? To really sell what you're saying. And so was there ever that sort of nervousness and trying to act and looking silly doing it. I just picture Hugh Jackman in the booth for Logan, and he's doing the running scene, and he's all in. He's giving everything he can, even though all you're hearing is his voice.
Yeah, that's the fun part when you actually get to do physical stuff. For me personally, it's always easier for me, and this is my own perspective, of doing the peak of emotions. Right. So when you're going full force, whether it be anger, grief, lust, happiness, euphoria, anything like that, those are good because you can add physicality. It's the ones that are very mundane. The kind of the ones that you were saying, I was telling Uncle Aiden to go, okay, go there. What's going over here? There must be something we must do. Like in the video game, you're kind of directing the gamer. Right. So you have to do that in a natural way that isn't too nudge, nudge, wink, wink, but also the character being curious in a very natural way. It's so interesting to do that because it's exposition on a different level.
Right. Yeah. Because you're literally telling, like, it was really surreal, like, hearing, I'm playing and I'm hearing your voice come through my headphones, and I was like, are we on chat right now? Like, what's going on? I felt like we were on PSN, but, like, dude, it was, I there were moments where I heard you would read a line in one way and you would read a line again another way. How many takes did you have to do, for some of these lines? Is it astronomical? Do you do like 5 or 6 different ones that they are all used for different, reasons? Or, how sometimes video games do that thing where it's like, if you're in one area of the game, the character sounds like this. If you're in another area of the game, they're saying the same thing, but they sound like this. Did you have to do anything like that, like alternate takes?
Yeah, absolutely. So every single time we had a line or anything like that, we would do 3 to 5. It'd probably be 3 to 5 takes of each one, and then depending on what the emotion is or what the situation is, we'll do variations of intention. We'll do variations of intensity, variations on whatever we're trying to do. Like it was that's what's fun again. That's again, it's a form of putting on a clinic. You get the chance to be like, okay, let's flex a couple muscles now. Let's show what I can do, because they're going, okay, do it a little more like this. Do it like, and that's where the direction is. That's half the job of what we do. There's the creation, your recreation, but half the job is being molded. Somebody pulling the strings of you emotionally and everything like that. Then there's all the stuff with chemistry and all that kind of stuff. But, that's where this was kind of, it stripped everything, because they're going, okay, now throw this layer on, throw that layer on. And can you add those layers on top of each other in 4 words, and it works. Right. And that's fun. That's at least for me, it's fun. Maybe for other people, it's not fun. I know people who hate ADR and they don't like that stuff and they don't like voice work, and that's absolutely fine, because that's you like what you like and you don't like what you don't like. But I get a kick out of that because it's what I love to do. I love to create. I like to just create like this stuff. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Cool. Now, did you get a chance to do some mocap work for the game?
Most of my work was mocap.
Okay. Oh, amazing. And so, I'm going to take it goofy here and just ask, what was it like wearing the skin tight suit with the ping pong balls all over it?
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Hilarious. It was fun for it was because Andy Serkis is so flipping good, and watching it, you'd think that the suit is like, oh, it's just so soft. It's not very soft, but it's fine. It's it's I've had on, like, I've done I remember thinking back to a show I did once that it was like a period piece, and yeah, the wool's a little rough, but but the suit is great. It's how do I put it? It's, you're stripping yourselves of everything that makes you comfortable while you're filming. So if you're there trying to find the emotion for something, you'll lend yourself to a prop. Like for me, I always lend myself to a prop of the character, and that's Marut. Or there's a jacket or a hat, or just even the costume in general just kind of sinks you in immediately. It's gone. So that was so much fun, and I was very lucky for the first couple days. I was kind of in and out. They were kind of, the first beginning of schedule. So I got to watch Noam and Sean, who are vets at this, work. Yeah. And have fun and little nuances they do and the little techniques to come in and out. But it's all the same. And it's the same because you have the root of what the craft is. And as long as you remember that and you don't get distracted by wearing this jumpsuit,
right,
it's a lot of fun because everything else will just take care of itself as far as, building chemistry and the choreography and the blocking and everything like that. That'll just come into the fold.
And did they do face capture as well as body capture?
Yeah, so there are
I could
times...
see your face in Jackson's character. Like when you're doing those cutscenes, it was you on screen there. It was really neat.
Yeah, it's a helmet.
Okay, cool.
It's a helmet, and it was and that's the other thing. Like doing it was great because you got to be subtle, but you can't be too subtle. So you can't do micro expressions. You have to, but you can't be too broad because it looks ridiculous.
Right.
So you're somewhere in between doing a tight and close up of like Meryl Streep's micro expression nuances, and then you have the theatrical movement of physical acting.
So how did you find the balance with that though? Like, did they give you a screen to like look at while you did it so you could test that out and see like the sort of range of motion that you have with your face in terms of
jump
expression?
in and swim?
Really interesting.
Because that's it. Because they're trusting you based on that's what the audition process is about,
right.
And they I'm sure that comes into consideration,
right?
And that's great. And there's just little things like when Giancarlo Esposito did Far Cry, he's amazing.
Yeah,
He's just amazing in general, but he worked because he could add stillness and then be broad, and have. You can do that range, but you can't be too broad. You're just finding the level, and that's where you trust the director. You trust the writers. They're watching it the whole time, and if there's something that's not working or something that won't read, they'll pull you back or push you forward, whatever you need. But it's fun for you because you get to kind of play, and you get to. The best thing you can ever do as an actor is make choices, bold, creative, personal choices. And this allows you to do multiple of them and hitting different notes on the wave of your line. It's great.
Well, speaking of playing Munro, I want to know, like, you see all these like TV shows and movies of like the main characters and they're doing mocap, and like on the screen you see them with like the wireframes of their character like doing the silly dances and stuff. Can you just please confirm for me, Munro, video game actor Munro, that is a thing in real life? Like, did you get to see like a wireframe of you, and did you do silly dances and stuff to get used to it?
No. So
my dreams are shattered.
Don't
missed opportunity.
That stuff comes later.
Okay.
So we basically there's just a TV that shows we don't see the footage that the cameras on the walls are taking, like the motion captured cameras.
Right.
But we'll see what the reds are showing, because the reds will be connected to a TV. There's a TV there that the directors and them are watching, and all that stuff.
Okay,
so, nice.
No, we don't see any of that stuff. Like later on, they may show you a clip or something, but no. That's you don't. That'd be kind of fun, but no.
All right. Well, I appreciate your honesty then.
And killing his hopes. Yeah. All right. Final question, Munro. With so many fantastic franchises released by Ubisoft over the years, such as Assassin's Creed, Splinter Cell, Prince of Persia, and of course Far Cry, as you mentioned. The list obviously goes on here. We want to know, what would be the next Ubisoft series you'd love to be a part of if you had your choice?
It's tough.
Yeah.
Well, because honestly, you're not gonna like my answer, but
Prince of Persia? No.
He looks like he could be the Prince of Persia.
Yeah, exactly.
I've come to terms in my career, fantasizing about picking and choosing. Most times for actors is not realistic.
Right.
So I would love to say, oh, this one for sure, that one for sure. No. If I ever get the wonderful opportunity to be a part of one and they think I'm right for it, I'll take any opportunity I like. I couldn't choose one just for like, oh, I'd love to do that. Like, no, it's anything and everything I'd love to play.
Oh, I'm telling you, with the pony and the facial hair you're rocking, I could totally see you in like a Revolution era Assassin's Creed, in like, you know, the founding of America. I played a game back on the old PSP that was set in that time frame, and I could totally see it with the big blue coat and a musket. You know, like, yeah, you'd fit right in. You'd look great.
It'd be a blast. It'd be a blast. That's for sure.
I mean, I honestly kind of would want you in Splinter Cell. You know, I think, you know, with Ironside, you've worked with Ironside quite often, and like, dude, I'm just saying, we need the next generation of Splinter Cells out there, and who could lead it? Who could lead it?
Wouldn't that be fun though?
That'd be so cool.
Those are some heavy shoes to fill. He's got a booming voice. I don't know.
I could totally see you as like some sort of specialty character on Just Dance. Like, that'd be pretty dope.
Just Dance, yeah,
dude.
exactly.
Justin, you have no idea. You have no idea. This guy's amazing at dancing.
Me and my two left feet.
Dude,
oh yeah,
no, he's won dancing competition. Monroe, you're being too modest right now. You've won dancing competitions. I know you have, dude. Anyways,
let me tell you a game I would play in a heartbeat. I want the Degrassi video game. You know, for sure, I would. That's my childhood.
Choose your own adventure game.
Yeah, choose your own adventure Degrassi game.
They could do it. They could do it like remember that game that they did, like a game called Bully that Rockstar put out, I think, right? And like they could do like that sort of like high school like drama. I don't think that's been tapped in video games. That would be amazing.
That'd be great. If I was running into Joey Jeremiah in the hallways, I'm set, man. Wow. I'm toast.
Old school Degrassi.
Jeez. Cool. All right. Well, Munro, this was awesome getting a chance to talk to you about your role in Watchdogs Legion Bloodline and that experience that you had. Watchdogs Legion Bloodline is out now on PS4, PS5, Xbox, and PC. Before we get to our like kind of wrap up here, I want to know, Munro, how can our listeners keep up with the latest and greatest from you? And is there anything you want them to check out now? Yeah,
so you can. Most stuff that I post is on Twitter. Mm-hmm. It's _Munro. That's about it. And you know, I did something really fun earlier this year. Mm-hmm. Which is a lot of fun. But again, nothing I can really promote too much. But again, Taking the Falls out there. Yeah. We're really proud of that film. Under all the hurdles we had, we shot in 8 days, which is just unheard of. It shouldn't have worked. Yeah. Under 8 days, but you know, everyone was dedicated and made it work. And then obviously, Bloodline, Watchdogs. You know, it was a blast to do, and I hope people are enjoying it.
Very cool. Yeah. Well, listen, if you're enjoying the Bloodlines DLC, or you have a question, or any thoughts on the latest trailers that have just come out, and you want to ask it just like Alex from Toronto did, well, listen. You don't have to work alongside your uncle to take down the CEO of a giant evil tech corporation. Instead, Justin, can you let our lovely listeners know how to reach us?
They can reach us at wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. That's wearegeekcentric@gmail.com.
Very cool. We also have a ton of other episodes covering the latest movies and series out now, including our spoiler-filled review for Marvel's Black Widow. We got our Watch Club series for Loki, which is done now, but you can go back and rewatch it and re-listen to all those episodes. And of course, we have our Watch Club for Star Wars, The Bad Batch, which I think is just going to, in these next few episodes, I really do think are going to become amazing. I think. I don't know. We've been a little...
stuck it out for 16 episodes for nothing.
So we'll definitely see.
That sinister laugh from Kevin, you suckers.
That's my I dodged a bullet laugh. That's all I'm gonna say.
He's palpatining right now. He's palpatining. I also think you should check out our quick fire review for Space Jam: A New Legacy. We're gonna have a lot more reviews coming up soon as we start to see more and more movies and more content also from Disney Plus. So go give those a listen. And if you want to check out, we're talking about Watchdogs Legion here, Bloodline, and video games. And if you love video games and you want to check me out playing some Death's Door on stream, twitch.tv/NatePlaysGames. You can also check out Instagram, which I'm just at NatePlaysGames on Instagram to see when I'm going live. So please come by, say hi, and let's hang out and just talk about video games. Let's keep the conversation going over there. Justin, Kevin, and Munro. Thank you so much for joining me for today's episode. And as we say, love ya.
Get home safe, guys.
Bye-bye.
Peace.